Alright, so Laura, what's the theme this week?
The theme is all about the amazing native birds that you can see in New Zealand.
So that's right, New Zealand's main wildlife population on land are birds. Because by evolving on islands away from predators, native New Zealand birds are among some of the most fascinating species. So when you're going to be visiting Aotearoa, New Zealand, you will have the opportunity to meet inquisitive birds, colourful characters, and hear wonderful bird songs and beautiful melodies. So what we decided to do today is to go over 20 of our, let's say, favorite kind of bird that you are actually likely to encounter when traveling in New Zealand, and just tell you a little bit more about them and tell you where to spot them. So this is what we're going to be covering today. Let's begin with the first 5 birds that we have for you, starting with Kiwi birds. So this icon of New Zealand is likely to be seen mostly in captivity, let's be honest. But Laura, tell us about it.
Yeah, so the Kiwi is basically the national icon of New Zealand. You'll see it, originally it was on the emblems of the New Zealand Army, but now you can see it as a symbol for New Zealand of pretty much everything. It's a flightless bird, and as Robin says, it's mostly, you will only see it maybe in captivity, or if you go with a local guide that maybe has tracking technology to be able to find conservation birds that are in the wild. But yeah, otherwise they are nocturnal, they're very elusive, so seeing them in the wild, although they are in some of New Zealand's forests that are protected in sort of conservation areas, it can be very difficult to see them in the wild. Unless you go to Stewart Island, that's probably your best bet of seeing
That's where
them.
we saw our Kiwi birds.
Yes.
So Laura, where did you take that photo on screen?
So this one was taken actually in Whangarei. So they have a place called the Whangarei the Whangarei Bird Recovery Centre, I believe it's called. And yeah, they do have like a few birds in rehabilitation before they are released to the wild.
Yeah, some of the Kiwi birds are unable to live without alcohol. So yeah, they need rehab.
Yes, thanks for that input, Robin.
All right, moving on to the next bird that we have for you guys. It's the Kaka, which is a forest parrot.
Yes, this is one of my favorite New Zealand birds. They're quite large. They're quite large parrots. They do look similar to a kea, which we'll get onto a bit later, but these ones live primarily in the forests. So again, you can see them usually in bird sanctuaries, that sort of thing, where they have predator-proof fence. However, we have seen them more increasingly in areas in New Zealand where there is like strong sort of conservation projects where they're doing pest trapping and that sort of thing. Best places otherwise to see them in the wild is in the Fiordland National Park, as well as on Stewart Island. They will literally come up to your accommodation and come for a cheeky little, rummage around.
What I find is that when they come when you're sleeping, they never go with the melodious kind of little whistle that they do. They just go for the crazy squawk that they do. And then when you're in the forest or something, they usually kind of do some nice little sounds.
Yeah.
But to wake you up, they just choose the most squawking of all their noises. Where did you take that photo, Laura?
This one was taken in Zealandia, I believe. Zealandia is a predator-proof sanctuary in the middle of Wellington.
All right, moving on to a very, very common bird, and it's called a fantail. Guess why it's called a fantail? Oh, by the way, the name in Maori is Piwaka Waka.
Piwaka Waka.
Waka waka.
Yeah, so the Weka waka are very, very common in New Zealand. This is one that you're highly likely to see no matter where you go, whether you're on the North Island or the South Island. They can be in forests, but you can even see them in some urban areas, usually in parks, that sort of thing. So yeah, they are named because of their fan-like tail, and the way that they move around is very much like acrobatic, moving around. Like instead of flying straight, you will never see a fantail flying straight, basically.
No.
They don't glide,
around, do they?
Yeah, they'll dart around in all sorts of crazy ways, and they're mainly they're trying to get bugs. They feed on insects, so they're darting around to catch all those flies.
All right, so where did you take this photo of the Weka waka?
Ooh, I have many photos of Weka waka, and I have no idea where that one is. It could be our local walk down the river, for all I know.
Okay, so no idea on this one.
No idea.
All
on
right,
that
moving
one.
on. All right, next up we have a probably one of the most common beer that you can find in New Zealand. That's the tui.
Yes, there is a local beer named after the famous tui bird of New Zealand. These are medium-sized birds. They look black from afar, but when you get closer, they have a bit of a shimmer to their feathers. They're kind of like bluish.
Yeah, they're like metallic blue a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they also are very easy to identify by these two little fluffy white feathers under their neck, which is just like the weirdest looking thing.
It makes them look so pretentious. Like this kind of like
what they call a cravat. Or
yeah,
something?
like a cravat from 18th century Downton Abbey. You know? Like,
That's those guys. What's really cool about tui is the sounds they make. They all have different sounds throughout the country. You'll hear in one area they all make a melodic sound. Melodic sound.
Yeah.
Sorry. In one sort of tune, and then if you go to another part of the country, they'll all have like a different tune. So they all have their own sort of lingo.
But you can still tell that it's a tui because they all sound like C3PO.
Yes.
No, R2D2. Sorry, R2D2,
Yeah,
not
R2D2.
C3PO.
Yeah, so they have this sort of robotic sort of sound sometimes. They are nectar feeders, so they're usually like sticking their beaks in plants and,
You'll often find them near flax, so if you see flax and the flax are currently flowering, they're really ravenous on this kind of flax.
Yeah, and kowhai trees as well. Yeah. They love a good yellow flower of the kowhai tree.
Where did you take that photo, Laura?
I think that was also Zealandia in Wellington.
No, actually, I think this one is on Wahiki Island.
Okay, yeah.
I think I remember that. So this one is on Wahiki Island in Auckland.
Good remembering.
I know, I'm really pleased with this one. Okay, so the next one is me. The robin, also known as the tutuwai in Maori.
Yeah, so the robin in New Zealand is it's not like your European robin where usually they're all red and stuff. These ones are black and they're
I'm wearing red.
yeah, these ones are black and they're a little bit bigger than say your European robin, and they also have quite long legs. They're quite like elegant with their quite long legs there.
Thank you.
These ones are not shy. So if you're walking through the forest and you see one, if you just stop, maybe, ruffle the ground a little bit, they usually will hop really close towards you. So these guys, what they're trying to do is they're trying to get the bugs that you've upturned in the soil as you've been walking. So yeah, they're kind of opportunistic in that way, but they're really not scared of humans. So yeah, make friends with a robin while you're in New Zealand. It's pretty easy.
All right, there is 5 more to come in a moment.
All right.
Okay, I didn't ask you where you took that photo, but
that one was in the Kaimanawa Ranges area in the North Island.
all right. Okay, so 5 more to come in a bit. All right, so let's continue with some more feathery friends, and let's go for number 6, which is wood pigeon or kereru in Maori.
Yeah, so kereru are large pigeons. They are larger than your average sort of grey street pigeon. They are... Did you like that?
Wow, I have no words.
They're quite plump, they're quite big, these guys, and with that, they're a little bit clumsy, so you will see them sort of, when they're flying through the forest, they fly a little bit clumsy, they fly very loudly, which, interestingly enough, is a way that they communicate to each other with their noisy flying. But also, as we've learned during our travels throughout New Zealand, that they actually feed on fermented berries, which can make them a little bit, intoxicated at times, and that also may explain why kereru are so clumsy at times.
Where did you take that photo, Laura?
This one was taken in Aotearoa, actually, on the Banks Peninsula near Christchurch.
All right, so next up on our list, we have another really cool bird, and that is the bellbird, also known as korimako in Maori.
Yeah, so bellbirds are often mistaken for tui when you hear them. They have very, very similar sort of C-P3O vibes when they are...
C-3PO or R2D2?
R2D2, ugh. Sorry.
Wow, we are really bad nerds today.
Yeah, we're not the greatest of nerds. We're just, fake nerds, I guess. So, yeah, bellbirds, they sound like R2D2 they sound very much like a tui, but when you get closer to them, you realize, oh, they're not a tui. So the male ones will have like a nice green plumage, whereas the female ones will be brown and, not something that you'll look twice at probably, but yeah, they're also nectar feeders. You can see them feeding on various flowers and whatnot in the forest.
Where did you take that shot?
That one was near Topor in one of the forest walks nearby.
All right, next up we have the Nirangiru, which is the Maui. Niru?
Yeah, I think so. I remember someone telling me that it was pronounced Niru because
Okay,
it sounds like that. It sounds like a fire engine or something.
And so that was the Maori name for the Tomtit.
Yeah, so Tomtit, they're very, very cute. They're very, very small.
Look at him with his baby in the nest.
Yeah, they look like robins, but they're a bit smaller and have very short legs compared to a robin. And you usually see them traveling, mucking around in pairs in the forest. So the male one is like black with a white chest, and the female one is more of a grey colour. And yeah, we have spotted them in loads of different forests across New Zealand. They're very common to see, and they often you'll see them flying, coming onto a branch next to you, checking you out, and then flying off and doing its own thing after that. But yeah, this photo, we saw an actual nest and the mum and dad feeding the babies,
that was
which was
cool.
so cute. And we saw this at Washpen Falls, which is it's about an hour or 2 hours away from Christchurch. Its closest town would be Methven.
All right, next up we have the tourist kiwi bird. It's the Weka.
Yes.
Why do I call it the tourist kiwi bird, Laura?
Because it looks kind of like a kiwi bird, as it's a ground dweller. It is a flightless bird. It's a sort of round brown bird, and just because it basically looks like a kiwi, apart from the fact that it doesn't have a super long bill. So yeah, Weka are very common to see on the South Island, although you may see the odd one in the North Island. And they are very cheeky as well. If you leave your bags lying around on the floor, they will definitely come and check it out, have a bit of a rummage, and they're not too shy of people either. So yeah, really nice bird to see, especially as you're traveling around the South Island.
And where did you take that photo, Laura?
I think that one was in near the Aotearoa Arches near Karamea.
And next up on our list, we have the silvereye, also known as a pihi pihi in Maori.
Yeah, and also some people will call them wax eye, and that's named after the fact that they have this sort of white circle around their eyes. They travel in small sort of flocks throughout the forest, and you can usually hear them before you see them, all chittering away as they go through in their pack. In their flock, or whatever the group noun is for wax eye. Probably something weird. It always is.
The candle makers.
The gaggle, the candle makers of wax eyes. So they're nectar feeders as well, so you'll see them usually on flowers, but you'll also see them, as it is photographed here, if you just leave an apple outside, as we did in our back garden, you'll see these little fellas come and have a little bit of
That's
a bite.
right, this photo is literally our back garden.
Yes.
All right, so that's 10 now. We'll have some more coming up. All right, so next up on the list, we have the brown creeper, which is the PPP.
PPP.
Spelled P-I-P-I-P-I in Maori.
Yeah, so this one is a little more elusive in the forests, but you can still see them in many forests around New Zealand. And they are known for their melodic breeding calls added to the forest soundscape there. So admittedly this photo is someone else's photo because we don't know if we've actually got any photos of them. Usually they come, they go so fast.
We've seen glimpses of them, we know that. We heard them, we know that for a fact, but having taken photos ourselves, we have a couple of photos that we suspect may be that, but since we're not 100% sure what bird that is, we obviously don't want to publish it, so yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, they have very high-pitched sounds. You're more likely to hear them in the forest, and if you're lucky, you'll maybe see them as well. They're quite camouflage.
Alright, so next up we have a bird called the mohua in Maori, which is the yellowhead.
Yeah, so as the name suggests, or at least the English name suggests, it has a yellow head. So
oh
it has,
my God.
yellow plumage. They're a very small bird as well. They're similar in size to the brown creeper that we just mentioned. Their sort of call is more of a buzzing call. But yeah, these ones you're more likely to see than to recognize their sound. So yeah, keep an eye out for these guys. We've seen them all over New Zealand, both in the North Island and in the South Island. But this photo, I believe, was taken in the Bay of Islands, I want to say. Maybe on Urapukapuka Island.
I think you're correct, actually.
Yeah.
Nice one. Okay, so the next bird that we have for you is a bit more of a rarer one, and it is the saddleback, which is also the tieke in Maori.
Yeah, so these ones, we've actually seen quite a lot of them in New Zealand, especially...
So why were you using one of our photos?
That's what I was thinking. Is like, I know I've seen lots of saddlebacks, but we haven't taken any photos of them, and I don't know why. Or at least I can't find any of ours. So yeah, saddlebacks, the male ones have this sort of, have this literally because they're named saddleback, because it looks like they have a saddle on their back, right? They have this sort of red...
This brown shape, like brown reddish
yeah,
shape.
it's brownish reddish on their back, and they also have these two sort of little, I don't know what you would call them. There's probably a proper term for these little waddles on the side of their beaks. Kind of like a turkey, but on the side rather than on their neck. But anyway, yeah, so these are the male ones that you can see on screen, and then the female ones don't look quite as extravagant. They kind of look a little bit normal, and they have less of that saddle on their back. They just kind of look like a normal bird is all I could say. I'm sorry to make these birds feel so weird and crazy. But anyway, yeah, saddlebacks. We've mostly seen them on island sanctuaries where they sort of have like predator control on the islands, and they are very well protected from outside pests. So we've seen them a lot on Rangitoto Island in Auckland. We've also seen them on one of the islands in the Marlborough Sounds, which the name is escaping me right now. But yeah, if you're in one of those island sanctuaries, that's more likely. Is that what it's called? Maybe it is, yeah. Motuarere. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so island sanctuaries, that's where you want to go if you want to see a saddleback. Also, Tiritiri Matangi, I'm pretty sure there's some on there as well.
Indeed. All right, moving on to the Torea Pango in Maori, which is the oystercatcher.
Yeah, so these are very commonly seen on the beaches of New Zealand.
And they're always 2x2s.
Yeah, they're always in pairs, which is very cute, but they're also very defensive of their area, of where they're nesting, or maybe where they've got young that they're protecting. So usually when you get a bit close, they'll start making noises and being like, go away, or running away from you. So usually they're best enjoyed...
Is that your impersonation of their call?
Go away.
Go away, go away.
Yeah, so they're best enjoyed from afar, and if you do see oystercatchers, it's also good to basically don't approach them, because if they are nesting, then they usually have eggs that sometimes can be under the sand, so you don't want to be standing on them.
It's not like they don't really dig them under the sand, but there's sometimes a small layer of sand over it, and it's easy to miss them.
Yes, exactly. It can be easy to miss, so very much a bird to be enjoyed from afar, but you will see them very abundant on the beaches of New Zealand, all the way from the top of the North Island all the way to the bottom of the South Island. And you'll also see also in Stewart Island as well, and you'll also see there's different subspecies of oystercatchers. So you will see ones that are fully black, you may see ones that have like a bit of white on their plumage as well. So yeah, also another fun fact about them is that they're known to lead predators away with a little act they do, which is called like the broken wing display. So they'll look, one of the pair will look like they've got a broken wing and sort of look vulnerable to drag predators away from their nest, and then then they act as a decoy.
And then they just fly off.
And
Very,
then-
very
yeah.
cheeky bird.
Very cheeky.
All right, Laura is the right old ornithologist right here. I love it. Okay, moving on to the next one. And we have the grey warbler, which is the riro in Maori.
Yeah, so these are very common to see.
Oh, sorry, why did you take the photo of the previous bird? Sorry, I just kind of...
I think it's either in the Bay of Islands or on Ulva Island just off the coast of
thought that was
Stewart
the Bay of Island,
Island.
this
So
one,
I
so
think
yeah.
this one might be the Bay of Islands.
All right, back to
just
the
used to
grey
take a quick
warbler,
look.
which is the riro in Maori.
Excuse me, I have a bit of a tickly throat. So yeah, the grey warbler or Rio is it's another very small bird. It's, as the name suggests, it's grey. Nothing too appealing in like when you see it.
I have a grey warbler community right here, ready to pounce on you.
I mean, when you see a small grey bird, you probably don't look twice. You're just like, oh, there's another bird. But it's another one with some catchy melodies that you'll find in the forest, and yeah, they have dull colouring. I feel like I'm being
Wow,
so mean
you've been
to the grey
dissing that poor
warbler.
bird. Wow.
But yeah, they are said to have different dialects across the country, so they'll have different sounds that they make depending in which region they're located. Just like us humans, really. So yeah, I mean, maybe the grey warblers aren't so different from you and I.
Wow. So, very uninspiring bird, I guess.
Not much to say on the grey warbler. Sorry, grey warbler. And the photo, we did take a photo of that grey warbler, but I have no idea where it was. It was that forgettable. I'm so sorry.
The one that we had on
Rio.
the one that we had on screen actually was from Wikipedia, because our photo we just changed it recently, but there is newer
yeah.
photos on the link in the description of this video.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, the last 5 birds start with the Kakariki, which is the New Zealand parakeet.
Yeah, so Kakariki in Maori literally means small parrot. So we saw the Kaka, which was the large parrot earlier in the list, and this is the Kakariki. Yeah, so these are very, very cute birds, and there's different subspecies. There'll be like the yellow-crowned Kakariki, which will have a yellow head. There'll also be the red-crowned one, which is the one that we have on the photo with the red head. And they make very screechy sounds, like
Very high-pitched.
yeah, they're like manic laughter. In the
The
forest,
dissing starts again.
you just hear them just like crazily laughing as they fly through the forest. But they're very cute. They're ones that you will, you can see them in the wild in, again, heavily sort of predator-proof areas where they'll have like trapping and that sort of thing. So you'll find them in island sanctuaries, you'll find them in conservation areas, or even if you're lucky in some of the forests where they have like pest proofing actions in place. But yeah, they're just cute little birds, and they're little parrots. What more can I say? They're really cool.
Where did you take that photo, Laura?
I think that one was on Ulva Island, which is an island sanctuary just off the coast of Stewart Island.
Alright, so next on our list, and we deserve a like on this video just for trying to pronounce this, is the Pipifaroa, which is the shining cuckoo. That was the Maori name for the shining cuckoo.
Yes, admittedly, this is one that we haven't seen.
No, we haven't been able to see.
It's also it's a bird that you can find across the South Pacific. They do migrate, so they are found all over the South Pacific, and as a lack for a better word, these birds are dicks. So
What? No, beep, what? They are not nice birds. They are parasites. They have parasitic behaviors.
Yeah. So what these little guys do is they go and find a nest of, like, say, I think yellowheads or brown creepers or grey warblers that we mentioned. They'll find their nests and they'll just lay a little egg there. They'll just be like, okay, I'm just gonna put an egg here, an egg there, egg everywhere, and then then basically the chick is hatched and raised as part of the other crew.
Yeah, and quite often the chick is actually has behaviors of like pushing the other chicks of the bird itself off the nest, so like that he's been fed by a different species. So it's kind of like basically drop your egg and get somebody else to take care of your kid and raise it for you.
Yeah,
it's kind of
I don't know how people feel about that.
Well, we know how you feel about it now. I'm gonna have to do some beeping.
So yeah, this mother that can't even raise her own children, she just goes and like says like, you look after him now, you look after her now, and yeah, I mean, some of the birds don't have it, and then the other birds forget about their own offspring and end up raising another bird that's like, why don't you look like me? There's something's wrong here. But yeah, shining cuckoos, what can I say? They're pretty crazy.
Wow, Laura has very strong feelings about the shining cuckoo. All right, well, let's move on to maybe a less controversial topic, I guess.
Yes.
And let's move on to the Rifleman, which Maori name is Titipunamu.
Yeah, the Titipunamu. They're so cute. I feel like my opinions shine through. I know I realise how opinionated I am about birds, apparently. So yeah, the Rifleman, or the Titipunamu, they're like little ping pong balls. They're so small.
They're very, very, very small.
Yes, and they only weigh about 5 grams, which is like nothing. It's like your scales can barely pick that up.
Using the better scale.
Yeah. And yeah, for people that don't use grams for weighing, that is 0.18 ounces. So yeah.
And for people that don't use the word not, it's 0.18 ounces.
Oh, 0. Yeah. Lots of translations having to happen here. But yeah, the Riflemen, they are found, again, both on the North Island and the South Island. They're in the forests, and they're very, very tiny. So the smallest bird that you'll see, that will be a Rifleman. And they also have a bit of a nice little call into the forest. We did see one outside of our back garden the other day, which was really cool, and it was making all those crazy sounds. It's probably like, I'm so far from the forest, where the hell am I? Oh my gosh. That's what I imagined he was saying. But yeah, the one we saw on this photo right here is in the Mount Aspiring National Park on the Rootburn Track, which is one of the great walks of New Zealand.
All right, so moving on to the Ruru, which is Morepork, a bit of an owl.
A bit of an owl? No, it is a full owl. It is one of the last remaining native owl species in New Zealand. I think it's the only remaining owl species in New Zealand, actually. And yeah, they're a dwarf owl, so in other words, they're just a very small owl. They're very cute. Unfortunately for us, we haven't seen them in the wild. We've only seen Morepork in like native bird recovery centres. So this one we have a photo of. This is in Wingspan, which is the National Bird of Prey Recovery Centre in Aotearoa. But we've also seen them in the Tiano Bird Sanctuary. So they have they have some enclosures there where they put birds in rehabilitation there as well. And yeah, they're very small, they're very cute, and apparently they're named after the sound they make, or at least they're... Yeah.
We've heard them a lot in the wild. We just haven't been able to spot them, because also when you hear them, it's usually at night, and it's much harder to spot them, so it's kind of like catch-22 right here, where it makes it quite hard to spot in the wild.
But if anyone spotted one in the wild, let us know. Our neighbour has, and he told us about it.
All right, and last on this list, we have the Kea, which is an alpine parrot.
Yes, it is the world's only alpine parrot. It's quite a large-sized parrot, and it's only located in the sort of mountainous regions of the South Island. So, in particular, we've seen them in Arthur's Pass National Park. We've seen them along the roads to Milford Sound. And yeah, they are very cheeky. They're very intelligent.
Oh, here's another opinion, guys. Laura's going to diss that bird yet again.
I'm not going to diss them. They're cool. They're very intelligent. We've heard many really fun stories of people hiking, and they will be like perched on top of huts where people go hiking, and then they stay overnight in a Department of Conservation hut, and they will drop stones on people's heads when they're going in and out of the hut.
And if you go on the article, which links in the description, actually, we have a different photo than the one shown on screen, because this one's a little more flashy, you know, like nicer. But we have a photo of ours where you literally see them pulling off the rubber of vehicles, because that's what they're really well known to do.
Yes.
They just hang out in the parking lot and they're just gonna get the rubber of the seal of your door, or they're just gonna try to get some of your windshield rubbers. You know, they're just gonna take them away and just be like, well.
And they're another one that if you put your bag on the ground, they will run up to it and start, you know, picking at it and stuff. They're just, you know, you got to be careful around these guys. And in terms of their calls and stuff, weirdly, they sound like cats. That's what I think. They meow. They're like meow like that. They're kind of weird, but
weird
in a good way.
Wow, another dissing.
I love Kia. They are one of my favorite birds.
Indeed. All right. So that was the 20 birds that you can easily find in New Zealand. We'll give you a few bird watching tips before letting you go, and after that, well, you can move on to planning your trip to New Zealand. All right. Let's go back to the live chat for now.